In this video, we are going to be discussing some key concepts about psychology as it relates to the Rwanda genocide. So why don't we get into it? A female prisoner who took part in this unforgettable piece of time stated, "When fell to the ground, I picked up a stick and said, 'Tutsi must die.' Then I hit one of them and then the other one. I was one of the killers." Mukankurenga. This quote goes to show how much this woman was influenced by Hutu propaganda, even to the point to where she was committing heinous crimes. Although Mukankurenga had done unimaginable things, she is remorseful about what she has done in her past. In just over 100 days, it had been reported that more than 69,000 Rwandans had been displaced. Approximately 800,000 of the Tutsi minority and a moderate amount of Hutus and Twas were brutally murdered. So what caused the genocide in the first place? Why was it that after all of these years the Hutu decided to try and kill off the Tutsi? The Rwanda genocide had been something brewing for years due to ethnic diversity. It was just the time for this catastrophe to occur. This is something we'll dive deeper into later. For now, let's focus on the icebreaker. On April 6, 1994, the aircraft carrying the Rwandan President Juvenal Habyarimana and Burundian President Cyprien Ntaryamira, both Hutu, was shot down with surface-to-air missiles. Various theories propose suspects, including the Tutsi rebel group Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, or government-aligned Hutu power followers who opposed negotiation with the RPF had to do with this incident. As you can see in this picture, the aftermath of the aircraft incident was deadly. Within hours of the plane crash, Hutu militia groups and Rwandan armed forces began murdering Tutsis and moderate Hutus. During the time of the colonial ruling, Rwanda by Belgium in 1919, ethnic groups had been racialized into three groups being Hutu, Tutsi, and Twa. Tutsi were favored by Belgium, as they had characteristics similar to Westerners. When Rwanda gained its independence in 1962, the Hutu were left in power as they were the majority due to exiling nearly 330,000 from Rwanda. In 1973, Habyarimana became president of Rwanda and founded a political party by the name of the National Revolutionary Movement for Development, NRMD. In this case, the Tutsi refugees had also formed a group called the Rwandese Patriotic Front, RPF. These refugees came from Uganda into Rwanda. After this, the president of Rwanda started accusing Tutsi residents of being a part of the RPF, leading to the massacre of hundreds between 1990 and 1993. A negotiation was later set up between the RPF and the government, resulting in a power-sharing agreement, which angered plenty of Hutu extremists.
One day in April last year, Angelique and thousands of others fled there for sanctuary. There they were found by the Interahamwe, those who attack together. And there, together, they died.
Noneho abinjiriye hano batangiye gutema no kujya bakubita abantu nta mpongano. Twebwe hari imbere kuri aritari haza umugabo arahagarara ati stop. Musigeho. Mwikwikora mu nda umuhutu kazi nazamukemo. Ubwo bamaze gushiramo rero nibwo batangiye kuza kutwica. Umwana wanjye uw'imfura muramukazi wanjye yaramuhetse bamutikuye igicumu hano byo nararebaga ahita arerembura mu mugongo arurutsa ashyira hasi. Umutoya nawe bamukereye ijosi hano bamukereye ari mu mugongo wanjye.
The bystander effect was notably present during the Rwanda genocide in 1994. The bystander effect is defined as the reduction in helping acts when in the presence of others. Despite the clear indications of this catastrophe taking place in central and southern Rwanda, No country was acting towards putting a stop to this genocide. The world remained unaware of the nationwide killing rampage that was unfolding in areas of Rwanda for 3 weeks, because it had been mistaken for a civil war. Neighbors, acquaintances, and people in surrounding villages were living in between this heinous annihilation while they frequently witnessed violence. They remained passive as to what was happening, thinking that someone else would step in and stop the mass killings. There are so many questions you could be asking yourself, such as what would have happened if earlier intervention took place? The concept of dehumanization was starkly highlighted in the event that was to be unfolded within those 100 days. Dehumanization refers to when individuals perceive victims as less than human beings. They view others with diminished empathy and compassion. Hutu extremists employed powerful language dehumanizing Tutsi over the radio. Propaganda radio stations labeled Tutsi as cockroaches and vermin, as it specifically mentioned needing the help of the population to be clean of the Tutsis. As a result of being motivated by radio stations and political regimes, Hutu militias armed with guns, machetes, and other weapons hunted down Tutsis. In many cases, Tutsi women, as well as some Hut, were raped in a form of dehumanizing towards the minority group. The power of the situation refers to people's thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that are influenced by the social setting. The social norms in Rwanda at the time were entrenched with ethnic division caused by colonial policies and discriminatory practices. Tutsi were the favored ethnicity by the Belgians as they were preferred due to their physical appearance. The Hutus made up 85% of the population, while the Tutsi made up 15%. The Hutu ethnicity eventually upraised the Tutsi, causing a grand majority of them to flee to nations outside of Rwanda, and Rwanda would later gain its independence. After the plane incident with the president, the Hutu population believed that the Tutsi were behind the assassination and took the power of the situation to begin dehumanizing and mass murdering the minority. Stereotyping is usually an overgeneralized belief some humans may have about a particular group or class of people. Before the Tutsi had been stereotyped, they had already been stereotyped by Belgian colonizers. When European colonizers arrived in Rwanda, they had come across the 2 main ethnic groups, including the TWA. The Europeans had stereotyped Tutsis as having a lighter skin tone, thinner lips, taller physiques, and more elongated noses. When the Hutus were on their killing spree, they would stereotype Tutsi by these distinctions. The psychological impacts of the Rwanda Genocide are profound and long-lasting scars on the community and nations as a whole. The effects are still felt to this day, affecting survivors and the Rwanda community. This raises the question, can this happen on American soil?